I don't know, purpose, it really can change so many things. I used to eat pig when I was little, and when I was about 5 years old, and I would have the worst nightmares. Like, I would have nightmares for days on end, horrible nightmares of even being the pig, because when we're children, we're a lot more open to all the channels. And it really made me realize what we're eating affects us. Like, that vibration in that food comes into us.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy. So, I mean, just eat organic where you can, free range, look for animals that have been treated in the right way. Yeah.
Yeah, I realized I had become, because I've been fasting and kind of just stopped eating meat intuitively for like 6 years. Because it would just make me, I just feel bad. I could tell it just wasn't good for me. Especially, and I know that's what like, I always see the videos of how animals are treated. And yeah, you imagine taking that much suffering, that much fear and pain, like you're taking that energy into yourself.
Yeah.
And that can cause, and like that in itself can cause all kinds of disease.
Disease, exactly. Yeah, disease in the body. So our environment around us, the things that we're eating, and, you know, tying back into the ancestral times, like, and we were talking about hunting, is that those animals were happy animals. You know, they're brought up in the wild, they're connected to nature, and when you eat that animal, you're taking on that energy, that vibration, that high vibration, and especially when you're eating the organs as well. And Native people would use that a lot too, as medicine, as honoring that animal and taking on the attributes of that animal.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. Now, yeah, and I was telling you a story about how I went hunting this earlier this kind of fall. And intuitively, like, it wasn't really planned. We got this elk, and I think just in the moment, me and another guy, we were skinning it and just decided to eat take a bite out of I think it was the liver. And then the third guy that was with us decided to take a bite out of it too. And I was like, to show up, like, I feel like that is like giving back as honor to taking on that energy of that animal, and like giving honor to that animal is part of, I don't know, I could tell that it was all part of a ceremony that was playing out.
That's so cool you've done that. I've hunted a lot as well, and people are like, how can you hunt animals, you know? But it actually gives you appreciation into the circle of life, and you don't want to eat meat as much. Like, you have reverence for life when you actually do something like that.
If we are eating meat, that is how it should be done. The way we're eating meat now, you should feel like, well, first of all, I always tell people, never feel guilty. Try not to feel, you should shield yourself from feeling guilty or shame or bad about anything you do. We should be conscious of what we're eating, but we don't want to feel bad or feel sad or feel guilty, because those are lower vibrations. That lowers our electromagnetic field. That makes us more susceptible to all sorts of other things. We want to keep ourselves feeling good about ourselves, never feeling bad about what we're eating, what we're doing, and not negatively motivating ourselves, always positively motivating ourselves and keeping us saying, like, okay, I can eat better. I'm making this choice. I'm going to make better choices. Here's how and start planning. But never, what happens a lot is I just always am seeing people getting down, like, because it feels like there's so much of a shift you have to change and so much stuff you have to change all at once, but it's not. It's like, you're exactly perfect right now, always. And like, just live in the moment. You're doing fine. Just always be conscious of, like, who are you? What are your goals? What are you working for? And we're always here. We should be trying to have fun, not feeling bad about ourselves, right?
Yeah, and we've got to work best in what environment we're dealt with. Like, they're hard times. It's hard to find purity and good food and good water and like a safe environment in what the system's delivered to us. So we just need to make small choices every day in the best way that we can, and find that higher energy. And I guess that's how this ties into the Kundalini, is like, how do we raise our vibration and clean our bodies against everything that's being thrown at us, like all the heavy metals, all the low frequencies, the 5G, that collective consciousness of fear and suppression, all these things. Like, it's a really challenging time. So we've got to be strong in the mind, body and soul, in our temple, to be able to flow with this, to be able to transmute it, if you will. So that's where this ancient art of the Kundalini can really heal the body and open your mind into pathways and connect you to the higher dreaming, right? The dreaming that was here before this dreaming was here, that we're plugging back into.
And and that's what we are trying to plug back into, that higher dream state. Like I've talked about before, kind of, the earth kind of takes on the shape, I think, as what we dream it to be, I think. And so I know back when we had the trees, I always talk about the world trees, the big trees, and we were more in those world trees had their bark was creating more of this DMT, so we were more in this dreamlike state. And so we were exactly what you're talking about, like we were always kind of more just in this state of manifestation. It was a more magical state of being, I guess.
Yeah, connected in, definitely. Well, we were connected in with the water and the food and the ceremonies, where we've lost that these days, and we're very lost. So how do we plug back into that? And these ancient times, like you said before, I believe were more evolved times than we're in now. Like, people were caretakers of the land, and I was lucky enough to learn a lot from the Aboriginal people here on the old stories and how the land was. We were guardians of the earth, and Australia was like a manicured garden. That there was like backburning and everything was in harmony. The people, the animals, nature, and everyone was plugged in, and they could even predict, using the stars and everything around them, when people were going to meet up next. Telepathy was more of a normal thing. So we're evolving now into that, but tapping back.
I have to bring this up now. Someone sent me a video just today or yesterday about how so birds, because I talk about this a lot too already, that birds, so the reason what they're flocking when they're migrating, they're following electromagnetism, this energy. And so when the chiefs and stuff, when the natives were putting feathers in their hair, well, those feathers are they're antennas, basically. They're all antennas. So they were able to use the electromagnetic, use those antennas and use that to telepathically communicate with the whole tribe and stuff through the feathers. It's pretty crazy.
And that's what the Kundalini can do too, though, is start activating our crown and our third eye, so that we have antennas coming out of our head.
And that's what I talk. The pineal gland itself, when you're creating that piezoelectricity, it's an antenna, and you're sending everything as these waves of electricity, these electromagnetic waves. So thought waves are just electromagnetic waves. If we're able to send and receive, just like a TV, it's no different than a radio or a TV. Those are just waves vibrating.
That's what I always say. And people are like, how do you heal? How do you do distance healing? It's like, well, how does Wi-Fi, how does the internet work?
I mean, your body. If only people really understood, because we kind of been taught science all backwards, but our bodies are not matter. Matter is just energy vibrating at frequencies for us to perceive it. So if your body has a base vibration rate, and things like cancer, I keep hounding on stuff, I think really all sickness, all stuff comes down to it's parasitic in nature. like whether it's mental illness, whether it's anything, it all is kind of, it's basically comes down to being parasitic in nature. And frequency, we can basically heal anything through frequency by resetting our bodies, by just tuning our bodies to their base frequencies. It's that simple.
Yeah, and we've got the technology to do it. Like we literally do. Like the human body is, like I think you said, the most advanced thing on this planet. Like look at babies. Look how we make life. Like that is just incredible. Look how the universe births itself. Like that's all inside of us. All that coding is inside of us. And the Egyptians know about the Kundalini and the pineal. I did a reel on this. They know this is the elixir of life. And it actually does undo disease in the body. The vibration, it makes your vibration so high that there is no more disease present, mental illness. You can reverse your age, and start tapping into those higher realms and higher timelines of what's happening.
That's a big thing too. I want to talk. I'm glad you said, is like the mental illness, because when I was saying all physical and mental illness is like parasitic in nature, and like you can destroy these bad thoughts by raising your vibration, raising your frequency, having a better attitude. They can't exist in these things only exist in a lower frequency. You can call it whatever you want. They're entities, you can call it energies, it's things. It's as simple as we can raise our vibration, change our environment with sound to make ourselves better. It's pretty good. And sun energy, I'm glad. And you were bringing up to me, and that's something I keep saying I'm going to be doing. I keep having issues with all technology, but doing meditating in the morning with the sun coming up, because that is one of the biggest things that was one of the most impactful things that I've done, is the meditation in the mornings, like as the sun is coming up.
Yeah. Well, you're connecting straight into source creator and into the light codes, which starts activating the pineal and healing you on a really deep level. Like just looking at those, because everything is energy and light and vibration before it's matter. So when we're looking into the sun, we're looking into that energy and that vibration and the rays, which actually has the codes of knowledge in it. We don't need to understand it in language or words. We understand it in our subconscious and in our bodies. Decoded in there, and the decoding of a high frequency. It's really fascinating.
And it's so important to do. That's what I think is, because I started staring, and it's been about a year since I started staring at the sun again, and that's one of the big. The more you do it too, like people think you can't. I know. So like the people say you can stare at the sun 20 minutes before and 20 minutes after, like as the sun's going down and as the sun is setting. But I stare at the sun all times of the day, and I can stare at it for like 10 minutes, and it doesn't. I'm not blind. Is all I'll say.
That's definitely an old fable, isn't it? So it's like everything that you've been taught in this world, do the opposite pretty much. Like whatever the system is inverted, whatever the system's been teaching us, it's the other way around. And there really is a dance of light and dark going on here on the earth. And we need to remember, like we need to unlearn all of the conditioning that society's put on us and remember the ancient way of being, which is the real way of being.
And that's why, once again, I'm glad that Kundalini, because that's part of unlocking your intuition and I keep kind of bringing this up too, is like a lot of people, we've been raised, a lot of people have been raised in like captivity, and we've never really had we have our school system, which is no different. I keep saying like our school system is exactly the same as our prison system.
Isn't it? It's terrible.
We're raised in captivity. Like, guys, we have mass Stockholm syndrome and like trauma programming.
Generational.
And a lot of you guys are like, hold on to that. Like, nah, it's not so bad. Like, this isn't. we can keep doing it like this. It's not, I was like, no, we can't.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you know, the old way of being, the ancient way of being, school was out in nature. School was learning community and tribal ways and things like that.
Living.
I think we lost it.
Yeah.
Hey?
People used to live as communities and work
Yeah.
together actually as a group of people with their interests were aligned, as in they wanted to build a community together or like work together. Now it's everything is we live in a transactional reality where they're trying to make everything, even our emotions, are transaction based. Like
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, being able to tap into the spirit world, the energetic world, like-minded people on a high frequency as well is how we're going to connect now and be able to make steps forwards, I feel. And remembering like our power, like we get so lost in this world, but if we actually remember our soul, like our soul's been here for thousands of lives, a lot of us, like a long time. You reincarnate and you come back again and again and again to learn soul lessons. Like we're ancient souls. So just thinking that you're just this person in this life, in this stupid little system that's been created for us can be quite depressing, really. And so when you start tapping into Kundalini and God consciousness and remembering who you are and the connection to the divine, that just brings so much peace and like excitement and I don't know, purpose. It really can change so many things.
yeah, I think that's another thing we kind of talked about too, and like because you've said you've tapped into that like chi energy, and like we were talking about a little bit earlier is like a lot of people are worried about practicing like telekinesis and stuff because they're worried about it being black magic or dark magic, when it's funny that energy that we're using, that you use, that chi energy is like that pure source energy, like divine light energy. So like there's nothing you could be doing better than connecting to that energy is my opinion.
Yeah. And chi energy, this is the interesting thing. Chi energy really is a marriage of feminine and masculine. So the masculine comes from the sky. We call it Father Sky. The feminine comes from the earth, Mother Earth. And the Tibetans talk about this too. It's the white drop and the red drop. And they come together, right? And that births the serpent energy, the chi energy. It's a natural force of life. And this is what the Bible the people, I shouldn't say that. The Bible people like the Bible. I was going to say Bible bashers. That Jesus had this power, which is in within all of us, you know, and it's the power of nature coming together to birth something within us. And it's just fascinating when these two energies come together, and the serpent energy, it's the cerebral fluid that gets activated up our spine and starts opening all of the chakra system. And then that releases the God molecule called the DMT within our body. And we start seeing everything, like the veil's lifted, and we start seeing everything for what it is. Like we are connected to God consciousness. We can see the patterns, the fractals, the time. And we're talking about time, you know, and what shape that is. Yeah.
And that's the Taurus field, and that's what led me to everything in the beginning, is the fractal nature of everything. I guess a lot of us, it's just the pattern recognition. When your pattern recognition starts unlocking more and more and more, the more you tap into that Kundalini energy.
And the patterns in everything. So some people might have seen it on mushrooms. Some people will see it from a Kundalini awakening. When your third eye starts popping open in your crown, you'll start seeing the patterns that are in everything. So a lot of that can be the flower of life, or the all-seeing eye. Start seeing that in everything and understanding that that's actually the same patterns that's in the universe, and how the universe cycles and works. It's the same patterns that are in the cells in our body, how the atoms work in our body. And I had this crazy theory, and I've got to share it. if that's okay.
Yes, please.
So, flat Earth versus round Earth, right?
Yeah.
What if it's both?
Yeah, I think it is. Well, I mean, I do. I think Earth is an atom. I think Earth is an atom.
Right? Or like the cells in our body.
And
it's
well,
a toric field. It's the
that's why I'm
toric
always
field.
saying cells are, yes, it's all torus fields. I always say cells are selves. So like the Earth is, we are a cell on the Earth, just like a cell on our body. But I also think our cells, just like we are perceiving this reality, our energy, our cells are perceiving this reality. They're having the same experience. It's all electromagnetic in nature. So like, just because everything's waves of energy, so there's no reason why they can, like, why our cells are perceiving whatever they need to perceive. They're creating whatever reality they need to.
Yeah, and the cells will talk to each other, like the cells in the body. Like we all talk to each other on a vibration.
And it's an ecosystem. Yeah, so I mean, that's what I'm also saying too. You're a universe within a universe. You have a whole universe of cells working for you, working as a system to create you. And they're all cells.
And how crazy, like our universe could just be all cells inside of what? All working the same, you know?
I mean, and I think that's how I see, like, because when you're connecting to that energy too, like when I always see that flow of water and the torus field, and I see how like we can be born, we're little droplets of water that get disconnected from the grand flow of things. And see, like right now, a lot of people, until you connect that kundalini energy, like, so if you're a droplet of water disconnected from the flow, you're going to dry up, or something's going to drink you up. That water is going to disappear and be reintegrated into the flow, unless you can create a stream, unless you connect a flow back to the main flow of thing. And then you can become a lake, you can become a body of water yourself. And I think that's what we're here, partially what you're here to do, is integrate your full ego. You're supposed to learn who you are, let go of the false ego, connect back to source, and make a connection so that you can make yourself an energetic body, your own essence, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so that collective consciousness is like that river or that lake. And this is the dreaming, and this is what ties into the serpent energy. So I want to talk a little bit about that, where you will find the dragon or the serpent very much ingrained in every culture around the world in ancient history, and depicted on the walls and carvings, all sorts of things. So like in Australia, we've got the rainbow serpent, and the rainbow serpent is the dreaming, right? And is the creation. They call it creation, but it's not actually the creation of the earth. It's using the energy of the earth, but it's the creation of the dreaming, the collective dreaming together. And the same with in Americas, Quetzalcoatl is the rainbow serpent. And so this is the knowledge of the serpent energy, and that's what's in the kundalini as well. That's what connects us to that. And the more that we all awaken and align to our higher purpose and connect in that beautiful lake together, that river of consciousness, the more we can make positive moves for this earth with power, make powerful moves forwards as leaders, as a collective consciousness making, and not being consumerism and fear anymore. We transcend that.
Exactly. And I think that's the biggest thing too. So the biggest thing to get to that point is we have to stop. So like every time we watch the news, every time we participate in the narratives that we're given, we're feeding energy to this. Every time we participate.
Yes.
In every little part of their story, instead of living in our authentic selves and our authentic true identities, every time we're part of their narrative, we're feeding it. And I think that's what I'm really trying to get across, is why it's so important. If we want to escape this, we can escape this at any time, right? We just have to we just have to change the projection of our reality.
Yeah, the narrative. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, how do we transmute this? You know, through doing energy work and the meditation and connecting into our higher purpose and passion, and through this vibration. So yeah, I really recommend for people doing breath work and doing Kundalini and doing macabre exercises and tapping into the abilities. We all have telepathic abilities. We all have abilities to be able to move things around. It's within us. We just got to unlock that.
Yeah. And it starts with believing. So we have to stop feeling silly about trying. And that's the biggest part, is you have to let go of worrying about what people say or think or gonna. That's the biggest fear. You got to let go of any worry about what someone might think or say about you, because people are going to attack you, but you're never going to be special until you believe you're special. You're never going to do anything. You're never going to accomplish anything until you can believe you can accomplish something. So it's important you just start trying.
Yeah, and you will, when you're on this path, you will have people telling you you're crazy. You will have people trying to bring you down, especially even in family members, because everyone's so indoctrinated with what society's supposed to be like. So we need to be brave through this and just believe. And, ancient societies, ancient cultures, it was all about energy, magnetism, spirits. And yeah, they use things like levitation. They use things, pyramids used to talk to each other. We used alchemy. We had druids. Like, we had cool shit going on. It's just a bit boring these days, isn't it? Take me back to those times.
Well, no, it's funny. We're not far off those times. It's just what they all understood and what they all learned about was magnetism. We're taught about gravity. And if we understood more about, because I keep saying magi, magnetism, it all comes from magnetism. When you understand magnetism, that's how you can understand alchemy, transmutation. That's how you can understand energy, because all energy, we're back to that feminine and masculine. That's those waves. You have masculine waves and feminine waves, polarities. Those are two polarities of energy.
The toric field.
And that's how I learn, is by feeling these different pressures, feminine and masculine energy, and how I can feel those energies in my auric field, in my electromagnetic field, And so and you have to learn to master being able to sense those magnetisms. That's why because you can start to get to I can explain all this stuff scientifically, because once you start to understand magnetism, electromagnetism, and the dielectric nature of reality, it's all it makes perfect sense why things kind of are the way they are. And the yin and yang, it all makes perfect sense when you look at the world as a filter through the yin, the yin and yang is a filter.
Yeah, it's all polarity, and that's where the macabre comes in too. We've got the masculine triangle, which is down, and the feminine triangle, which is up, and this is within us, and we bring those energies together. And I love that you say drawing in energies, because I think an old way of thinking about doing energy is the power has to come from within you, and you need to expel all this power from within you. And it's an egotistical way of thinking that I am the power. And shamanic people don't work like that. They call it the hollow bone, right? So you're a hollow bone, and you're drawing this energy into you from the outside. You're using the energy of nature. You're using the energy of the elements and the directions and bringing that through you. And then using that transfer into something else. It doesn't come from from us. It comes from connecting into everything and drawing that in.
Yeah. And that's why I love talking about when I try to do like aerokinesis, I posted that video with the tree, is because like when I'm trying to connect to the wind or the weather, I connect to a tree and I can feel my energy connect to that tree, and that tree is connected to others. I'm always like connecting to an energetic grid. And it's the same thing when I'm practicing in here, is like I'm creating like an energetic grid. Outside there's more living air, more living energy that we have to connect to, is the amazing thing. So
yeah, and it's huge. And when you start pulling on the direction, so I did a lot of I've known how to do energy since I was little, and I did a lot in my teens. And I would pull on all the directions and pull them in. And I was living out back in the desert, and the energy out there is so super powerful. And I used to be able to bring this in, or I still use it now. And I was doing crazy things back then with this magic, and I didn't even know what I was doing. But it can be used for light and it can be used for dark. That's the thing. Like, there is polarity within our world, but the energy is unprecedented. Like, there is no tap on it. It's just how clean your vessel is and how much you can hold and believe that you can transfer.
Yeah. So it's that's a good way. I want to talk about that too, because a lot of what people don't understand about karma is if you are set in your mind that you're not doing anything, and that's why narcissists are so, like, this all comes back to like magic systems, is because it's about what you believe. It's all about like what you're creating in your mind.
It really is.
So, like, people think karma, people that do things, people think that people that do things bad will get negative karma, but that's not necessarily true. People can believe and manifest things and use these kind of forces and magic for negative gain, I suppose is what I got.
Yeah, very much so. When you start using this knowledge, and this is ancient knowledge, so we go into the story of the Bible. The story of the Bible actually is the story of Earth, but we need to decode it. So it's all in there, but it's still like poetry. You need to unravel it. But what I'm getting at with this is that there is light and dark, there really is. And there's been big wars on earth over it because people have learned how to manipulate the light and the dark. Jesus, Mary Magdalene bloodline, Grail bloodline, has been persecuted for thousands of years. And there's a reason why, because this knowledge is within certain people and it's been manipulated. So that's why it's important now more than ever for us to be able to connect to God consciousness and to that light, even though the duality is always going to be there and we can't live without it. That's the thing, like evolution on Earth cannot exist without the dark. But the dark probably doesn't have to be so severe. Like, there's always going to be duality so that we can grow.
And yeah, the dark is like the matter. That's where like the densities, where things take shape, I guess.
Yeah, I've got some interesting comments too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So yeah, this breath work that I teach a lot, and the Kundalini is just so powerful for being able to bring yourself into that really high vibration every day, where you're not having those negative thoughts, you're not stuck in karmic loops. Like, you're sort of transcending that and bringing in like a consciousness of what am I going to create, and that I can create anything that I want to.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I've been that's what I've been tapping into for like the last like 6 months. It's just anything I, and well, yeah, and it's more and more, the universe wants you to create whatever you want to create. And that's kind of what we're supposed to be tapping
I
into,
like,
right?
oh, yeah, I'm just reading some comments. I don't know. But yeah, so the dark and the light, I mean, it's always going to exist. It's just, I think the severity of it doesn't need to be so full on. But we need to tap more into this this spinal fluid. You know that movie The Matrix, how it was plugged into the spine?
Yeah.
And it was feeding off the fluid of that. Like, we have this amazing biochemistry within our bodies that we can activate. And with that, like, comes abilities that are beyond human understanding.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why isn't that the most, I don't understand why that's not like why aren't we all just talking about that? And because here's where I'm at. I want to like full on dive into that, like unlocking that Kundalini energy and tapping into these abilities that we definitely do have. And like I keep saying, 95% junk DNA. There's a lot more we're able to tune into, guys. We have a lot more. We're electromagnetic beings. We just have to increase our electromagnetism.
Yeah, yeah. And then when we're doing that, the vibration that we're emitting from us is just waking up everyone around us. Like, when you're at a certain level and you've been doing a lot of work, you will literally, anyone that you start connecting to, you will give an awakening to, just out of your vibration. Like, you don't even need to say anything. You can just walk around and you're going to pop people. Like, you're going to be popping cherries, like pop, 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 pop. And people are going to be awakening because of the vibration. And you might even realize that when you're doing this sort of work as well around people that aren't awake yet, that, you know, there's going to be, that's why people sort of attack, and that's why people come in, because they can feel it.
Yeah. I want to say this too, that it was funny. Because you were saying that a lot of people react to your energy and it brings them some sort of awakening. But even myself, who I consider myself pretty awake, and I went through I had my own whole experience where I like started going through, I decided to, I'm always afraid of what to say on here exactly. But
Say it.
yeah, it was funny. Right when I started talking to you about having you on, I took mushrooms and I had my own like big experience, and like was practicing with telekinesis and felt like I had this huge evolution right around. So it's just funny, as I was first started interacting with you and your energy. So
Yeah.
I feel it.
Yeah. And, you know, it can be a bit of a lonely path. That's why we've got to connect with people that are like-minded, that are going through these things, because it can be a bit of a lonely path. Like, I find that a lot of people run away from me and get intimidated. I don't look that intimidating, do I? I don't know. But just for the energy, you know, or like I'll activate them and then they'll go straight into a dark night of the soul. You know, so it's really important to have people around you that, yeah, are connecting to you in this way, practicing similar things, so that you can, yeah, you don't feel lonely, because it can be a lonely road sometimes.
Yeah. That's probably the biggest thing I get from people, is because we're spread out. And I think that's one of the biggest attacks on us right now, is that, like I keep bringing up, during Big C, they kept us 6 foot away, kept us outside of each other's, like our Taurus fields, kept us from interacting with each other's energetic fields. And like, when we're not interacting with that's like the main thing we should be. We don't even need to be communicating, just our energy should be around each other. Same thing with like the Schumann resonance. When we're not connected to the Schumann resonance, we get anxiety, we start getting sick. I think it's the same thing when we're not around that humans energetic fields. And right now, no one's really interacting. You go outside, no one really interacts still. Everything's everything's still in this state of like, I don't know, it's in stasis.
Separation.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
everyone's isolated, and this is, no one really talks about what they really care about anymore because everyone's too afraid to speak about, because they made it that way. And no one knows what's true because they made it that way too. They don't want you to know what's true. They don't want you to know what you can talk about. They don't want you to know. All we can talk about is the stupid stuff we're allowed, what they give us, our little Roman entertainment, their gladiators that they give us, their little gods that we're allowed to talk about.
Yeah, the little theatre show that's going on. Yeah, but the duality of this, which is great, is that we do have the internet, even though it's separating us in some way. The duality to that is that we are actually connecting and sharing truth on a platform that's actually supposed to separate us. It's almost like it has its own entity now. So there'll always be a duality to it, and that's why it's so important for us to connect and not believe.
Yeah, and what's cool. Yeah, what's cool too is, since all energy is electromagnetic and like vibration and frequency, we're still interacting with each other, with each other's energy, because we're still interacting with each other's electromagnetic resonance.
Yeah. And when we start tapping into these abilities, like telepathy and feeling, like there's so many different, there's telepathy, there's what's clairaudient, clairsentient, like we start feeling things in our body before they happen. Like you might get a sense of knowing, you know, like I know I need to go and make this move now, or I know this is going to start happening in my life, or you can even hear things. You can even like feel things. Do you ever get an itchy palm?
Yeah, I get
ringing in the ears.
Yeah, ringing in the ears. Weird. I'll get shocks in areas like right here. I'll get this like shock run down my whole body. It's weird. I have a lot of weird things, actually.
Yeah, things can get weird, that's for sure. But yeah, I want to be able to bring people into a bit of a trance state. So I wanted to say as well with plant medicine, like I wanted to touch on that.
Okay.
Some people can I find plant medicine's really good after you've done a little bit of meditation and a bit of self-work. Then I think plant medicine's really good. But I find people just jump in and go, all right, I'm going to do ayahuasca, or I'm going to go do this plant medicine. And they literally can be blasted off too far, too soon, and have a separation from self. And they're the dudes you see running down the street going, I'm Jesus, you know?
Yeah. I have a lot of people, this is perfect. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Or, I mean, for people that I've never had a spiritual awakening, so I don't know, like I've always been awake. But a lot of people have spiritual awakening, and you'll pop one, like you'll pop so far out into the cosmos that it's hard to come back down and integrate into the body. And that's when, you're walking around going, I'm Mary Magdalene, I'm Jesus, I'm like the next walking.
Yeah, spiritual psychosis is a real thing.
Yes.
And like I definitely I blasted out of here multiple times, and this is what I tell, and I talk to a lot of people I've been through this, because like the world is mental, the universe is mental. Like, so you see things in reality that sometimes that break reality.
Yes. Yeah, right. It's the spiritual psychosis. So we can get stuck there, and it's important to practice embodiment of like bringing these gifts in, or bringing your awakening in, like walking that into this reality and doing the practices that ground you.
I was going to say, really grounding in your heart is important, I think.
Yeah. So doing like the meditations, the breath work is really should be a part of daily ritual to be able to calm that down, because when we're imbalanced, we're too far shot up into the stratosphere and we're not embodying being here on earth, we can get into psychosis.
Yeah. And then I do see that a lot in the spiritual community. And that's really why I'm glad. That's why I started this channel to begin with, is to have like a community of people we can trust, of people you can listen to about this stuff, because this is the importance of learning about the Kundalini energy and breath work and all this stuff. That's where it's like most important. And the plant healing and stuff like you're talking about, those are tools. Like my friend in here is, where are you at? My friend Dennis is always saying mushrooms and like these plants, those are tools that can be used to access experiences, to get used to these feelings that your body can create naturally.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. I like that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, what was I going to say with the plant medicine? Yeah. I don't know. Go on. I lost it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think important too, like anytime, any kind of plant medicine, it's they're conscious amplifiers, whatever vibration. If you're in a low vibration, low mental state, it's going to amplify that. And if you're in a high vibration, high mental state, it's going to amplify that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, this just say taking mushrooms, I don't know how many people have done that before, or even like LSD and things like that. You start having these visuals and these fractals and these amazing experiences. You're just tapping into what's actually there, and we can activate this within our body just through breath work and through light. Like sometimes I'm walking around and I'm literally having a full-on trip during most of the day.
Yeah.
You know, like woo.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
this is amazing.
Yeah, I've had that happen several times.
Yeah. So yeah, the breath especially, there's different types of breath work. So there's like a water breath work, there's coffee breath work. So you have breaths that can slow you down, and you also have breaths that can energize and speed you up. You have different breaths to be able to activate different parts of your body as well. So yeah, incorporating that into meditation. And you know, we can't ever control Kundalini energy or control the energy around us, but we can learn to work with it. It's a force of its own, and the more that you open up to it, the more you realize it is a force of its own, and you're just the channel for that force to come through and to be a part of.
I'm glad you said that. That's a big thing. When you see me dancing around, like when I'm working with the tinfoil, like I'm not dancing around because I think I look super cool doing it. Like I do that because I'm learning how to integrate myself with the flow of that energy. I'm taking the energy into me and flowing with the energy and learning how to let the energy flow through me and guiding it. And that's why it's easier for me to do, like when I'm dancing with the foil than when I'm like trying to blast it. That's more disruptive. It's harder to go it's easier to tune into. That's what Tai Chi, I keep telling everyone about, is learning how to tune into the flow of nature. And it's the same thing like aloha. You talk about, the islanders talk about, all these tribes, all these original tribal people will tell you about the flow of energy, because it's a real thing. You can tap into this natural flow of energy, natural state.
Yeah. And bringing it in through one hand, like this is the masculine and the feminine for receiving, and the masculine for letting it out. So it's a flow.
Yeah, and I should say too, because a lot of people are asking me what I'm seeing when I'm doing this. Like, one of the things, usually I always say I'm removing the personality, but one of the things I see is when I'm breathing in, I see pink, and that's like, I guess that's like my positive charge though, and then it's blue when I'm breathing out, and those are like the colors I see. But I'm also, and I can feel, I'm sensing these, like I said, I really have like a strong sense for these feminine and masculine energies, like this magnetic pulls, the push and pull. You can feel the pressures in the air,
Yeah.
And that's what you're really getting out of it, guys. It's not so much that you're able to manipulate the energy or control the energy. It's that you're learning to be a part of a larger flow of energy, guys.
That's it, you know, and all these people going, oh, you're supposed to push things around with your mind and stuff like that. It's not about that. It's about, being a part of that. You know, if you're a part of the wind, how fucking powerful,
I don't know how to tell you
wind,
guys, it's
right?
so crazy when I'm able to sense. I can't talk to a tree, like actually talk to a tree, but I can communicate with a tree by sensing its energy and sensing how, like, it's magnetic. That's how everything is to me, is it's electromagnetic, but like I can go to a tree and I can sense its energy. And I can feel how it's flowing, its negative flow and its positive flow, and I can connect to that tree. And that tree will help me connect to the wind, because the trees are actually the masters of the trees are like the masters of the environments, just so everyone knows. So like that's what I really try to do, is learn to communicate with trees, is what I spent a lot of this summer just like meditating by trees.
I've learned a lot from my life, from my wisdom, because, you know, things like ancient wisdom isn't passed down through books and through things. So much ancient wisdom's lost. I've learned things, especially when I was young, grew up out in the middle of the desert, and there was one river there, and I'd go down and I would connect to these trees, and I would be downloaded literally with like ancient knowledge on how to work with magic, with energy, with like the trees taught me.
Yeah.
And that's no bullshit. The trees and the land, when I've connected onto ancient sites, I've been downloaded and decoded with how to heal, or how to jump a timeline, or anything like that. Like that's been my teacher. Nature has been my teacher, tapping into what's being coded in there. I'm very passionate about that.
Yeah, because I'm super passionate about this too, because this is when I really started coming online, when I would connect to that energy. And that was the first time I realized, like, I'm not limited to what knowledge myself has. I can tap into this. This is like genetic information that we all can tune into and learn from by connecting to this energy. All information, all relevant. Okay, and this is why I like read books like the book Dune, and where they talk about like taking this stuff like spice, and you're able to access your all your ancestral memories and stuff, because like we can really do that and access our ancestral memories and stuff, guys. I think by learning to, so because every electromagnet, there's like this beam, we can connect to source through these electromagnetic tubes, and the more we're able to connect to it, the more information we're basically like able to pull from the ether is what I've found.
Yeah, so this is when we get back to the dreaming again, Quetzalcoatl, which is the rainbow waves, right? And the rainbow is the Akashic fields. The Akashic fields holds all the information of time, and time moves in a snake movement. Like, that's time, and it's creating, it's going in and it's going out, it's going in, it's going out, and it's swirling around. So yeah, being able to tap into that by raising our vibration and tapping and connecting to earthly things around us, even gold, like having monatomic gold and connecting to that, or going to an ancient site where there's like stone. There's been ceremonies and things, of course, a lot of time with people that take you, you know, guardians of that place. But if not, even just going out to and just the earth and connecting with that and getting downloaded with what's happened in that time.
Yeah, look at water.
Yeah. So elementals are, and that's where they're disconnecting us more and more in this society too, and trying to make these smart cities and all this crap. Like, it's so important to be able to get out in nature and connect to nature, connect to animals, get away from the screen. Even though we're using screens now, we can use it as a tool, but it's so important to get back out there and connect to those elements. That's where the teaching is, that's where the wisdom is, that's where the understanding is, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any comments, any questions in here. Was there anything else we wanted to talk about? We had so much stuff, I can't remember. If we have like,
well, time was a cool one, like how.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let's talk about that, because this is one thing I keep bringing up, is that I think Jerusalem, well, one location of it, see these, it's like our civilizations kind of flip-flop back and forth, but I think Salt Lake City was where Jerusalem was at one point, and like Egypt's over by like Ohio or the East Coast, and the civilizations kind of like, after they reset, there's fractal, because everything in our nature is kind of fractal. So like where the Dead Sea is now could be the Dead Sea by Salt Lake City, and what they do is they just keep flipping where this civilization was actually over here. That might be too confusing to get into, but that's what I've kind of seen, is like it seems like everything just flip flops, and then we like I think we have to like solve a puzzle, the puzzle of what's going on, kind of.
I mean, it's the more that you delve into this stuff, the stranger it gets. The more we delve into this stuff, like the more you wake up to it all, the stranger it gets, like the more profound it gets. And it's like time is not a linear thing. There is no line with time. There is no past and no future there. Time doesn't work that way. If we look at the patterns in the universe, time works in a circular sort of spiral pattern, but then also folds over itself.
Yeah, because it's the
like, look at the flower of life.
And this, I guess this is what I should talk about. I think there's like these vibrational shifts, because everything, energy, all energy is just getting, once it dies, it doesn't get destroyed, it just gets filtered back in. You got the positive flow of magnetism and the negative flow of magnetism, and it's just regenerating and generating. So like it's all, so all the memories, all the inventions, everything, the past, the future, it's all just a jumbled mess of like these memories, experiences, whatever they want, they just keep being projected back out into reality. So it's kind of like circular. It's the Ouroboros. I mean, really, that's what all the civilizations have, the Ouroboros too, and the dragons, the snake, and a lot of them have the snake on the bottom and the winged serpent on top, because of which is much like the phoenix, which brings us kind of back to the Bible and casting the snake was cast, because I think the snake originally had wings, and then it was thrown and cast to slither on the earth on its belly.
Yeah, and that goes into the Kundalini again.
Yeah.
And so the serpent has been made with Christianity and things like that to be a demonic thing, or an evil thing. And it's not. It's actually the creation. Like, I've forgotten the story of the Bible where the serpent was the bad thing, but the picture of the serpent and then the wings, that's enlightenment. And that's the energy of the masculine and the feminine.
Yeah, the caduceus, and then bringing the Christ oil back up to the pineal gland is what it is showing too, is 100%.
Yeah, and that brings the crown over as well. So I mean, even that in itself is like the dragon with the wings, right? And coming into that godlike creature.
People don't even realize, like St. Patrick's Day too, and St. Patrick driving out the snakes out of Ireland. That's a whole thing in itself.
And we're going to go back into the dragon thing again. the ancient bloodlines and all the houses of the monarchy usually had dragons in there, the ones of the dragon bloodline, which actually ties into, we really want to get into all this, the Anunnaki and, you know, the first races that came here have the dragon bloodline, which is the fallen angels, which is the Grail story, which is like ties into everything here. And I get goosebumps all over me talking about this because this is the story of Earth.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to tap back into that consciousness where we can create from that powerful space again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we need to talk about some of that again.
Yeah.
The Anunnaki and stuff, because there's a lot of misconceptions, I think, about.
Yeah.
See, I think the biggest thing I keep trying to tell people is, like, I see so many people like looking for like Galactic Federation, aliens, something outside of themselves to come and save them. And I keep trying to tell people, don't look for anything outside of you to save you. Start working on building yourself up. Start saving yourself every day. Or like if you want to save the world, start saving. Be the change. Stop waiting for it.
Yeah, that's so right. Yeah, you got to work on the foundation that's yourself. Like, you are the foundation of your life. Like, yeah, you need to work on self and find God within. Like, all of those stories are within us. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, the foundation, God is within all of us. So
yeah,
we got to be doing our part.
yeah,
And I mean, when we're talking, like everything's energies. So like people don't know whether you're conscious or unconscious. Well, now I'm telling you now, so you're conscious. Like, you're doing energy work all day. Like, when I'm practicing telekinesis and stuff, I'm doing more than just practicing telekinesis. I'm transmuting energies all day, like turning bad energy into good energy, and we're doing way more than we even realize. And like, that's why a lot of people, some people that to say this, I've known this for a long time, like non-verbal, like autistic people, they're just doing so much energy work, guys. They're doing a lot of energetic work. That's why they're taking too much energy into their bodies, is really what I think is what's going on. So
I love that. Yeah, I've never thought of that before. That's really cool.
yeah, the more I look into like autism and stuff, the more I realize like that's like just pure light energy. A lot of it